Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're zeroing in on one specific date in Grateful Dead history, May 19th, 1974, Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, Portland 74. And we're digging into it using a really detailed review from GratefulDeadBook.com. It gives a great sense of the show.
Exactly. So the idea here isn't, a minute-by-minute thing. It's more about catching the vibe, the key moments, and especially getting a feel for that legendary wall of sound and action.
Like a snapshot of the night.
Precisely. Just a taste of a classic Dead performance.
And the reviewer, they were definitely blown away. They actually called the whole show incredible wall of sound magic.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and they keep coming back to how confident the band sounded, the finesse, the sheer passion in their playing. You really get the impression of true artistry just pouring out.
All right, let's get into it then. First set highlights. What stood out according to this review? It kicks off with Mississippi Half-Step.
Right?
Uh-huh. A superb opener, it says. Apparently set a really bold tone right from the start.
Nice, and the energy kept up. Oh, yeah. Mexicali Blues is mentioned next with a blistering solo. And then Big Railroad Blues, described as high-octane, really fluid, full of raw drive.
Sounds like they were really cooking early on.
Definitely came out strong. Then there's Black-Throated Wind, which the review really highlights.
What about it?
Well, they mentioned Jerry playing these really intricate fills under Bobby's vocals, and the reviewer even wonders if it's maybe one of Barlow's finest lyrical moments.
Interesting. It's cool how those little instrumental details can really make a version stand out,
Absolutely. Those fills wouldn't just be notes. They'd be adding, texture and emotion.
Uh-huh.
The review also mentions Beat It On Down the Line, having this controlled intensity. The band just completely locked in.
But then they could shift gears, right? There's a mention of Tennessee Jed.
Yeah, a contrast. A lovely laid-back solo in that one. Shows their range even just within the first few songs.
Now, the review also touches on a couple of songs that were maybe still developing.
Right. Lucy is mentioned as being fun, but maybe lacking the tightness it found later on. Pre-1990s arrangement,
Okay.
And then there's Money Money, apparently a bit uneven, but pretty significant because it was the last time they ever played it. A real rarity.
Wow. Didn't know that. But the set ended on a high note.
Oh, absolutely. The China Cat Sunflower, I know you write her closer, it's called an absolute high.
Classic combo.
Totally. And the jam out of China Cat is described as muscular and confident. Billy's drumming, these rattling drum rolls are specifically pointed out. A breathtaking example of building tension and release. A classic moment for sure.
And Billy's drumming overall in that set gets mentioned.
Yeah, the review notes how rock steady he was. That single drummer setup in 74 really gave things a different feel.
More space.
Exactly. A kind of spaciousness, the review calls it. It allowed Jerry more room for those lightning-fast fills, those delicate textures, especially noticeable, apparently, in the cowboy and country songs. They could breathe more.
Okay, so that's the first set. What about the second? The reviewer seemed pretty enthusiastic.
Even more so. Called it absolutely phenomenal from start to finish. No holding back there.
Wow. How did it start?
Kicked off with a driving Promised Land. Jerry's closing solo was apparently raw, gritty, and just sort of launched them straight into Bertha.
And even in Bertha, Billy's drumming gets a shout out.
Yeah, giving it an extra bounce. But then came Greatest Story Ever Told.
Oh, what about it?
The review basically calls it one of the greatest ever versions, described as a relentless explosion of piercing guitar runs, Phil's bass, deep and funky, just pure fire, a jam anthem version, they call it.
A jam anthem. What does that usually imply for them? Just massively extended improv?
Pretty much, yeah, where the jam becomes the real focus, super intense, often longer than usual, really gets the crowd going. This Greatest Story sounds like it absolutely nailed that.
Cool. What came next?
Then they shifted into Weather Report Suite. Started low-key, perfect intro, building tension really expertly into Let It Grow. Felt like a beast held at bay, according to the review.
And there was something unusual during Jerry's solo.
Yeah, a whimsical Spanish interlude, apparently, with Keith joining in. Pretty cool little detour. But the jam itself went from being teasingly understated, intricate but downbeat,
right,
to something darker, meaner, and growling, which perfectly set the stage for Wharf Rat.
And in Wharf Rat,
Jerry's guitar tells the story. These long, pure guitar tones, just really evocative.
then the energy picked back up.
Big time. Big River played at full throttle with a furious jam, really pushing it. Then a bit of a breather with Peggio called Extremely Pretty, beautifully done.
Okay, but you mentioned a huge jam section towards the end.
Oh yeah, the main event of the second set, really. Nearly 40 minutes. Started with this long and intriguing Spanish-style tuning.
Intriguing.
Then Bobby apparently made a wry comment about technical difficulties before announcing Truckin'.
Classic.
And the Truckin' itself.
Another standout, but also described as somehow restrained. Still a jam anthem, though, with dynamic peaks and valleys.
Okay.
But then it shifted.
Kim too.
The mind-left-body jam. And the description here is great. Deep space jamming filled with dizzying possibilities, but importantly, still rooted in rock and roll.
It sounds intense, like they were really exploring.
Totally pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
Phil apparently took charge at one point, even cutting off a quick dip into going down the road feeling bad to steer back into that deep space before soloing the theme for Not Fade Away.
Wow, Phil calling the shots there.
Seems like it. And the band apparently just locked in instantly. The transition into NFA is called stunning and telepathic.
Yeah.
Brief hints of a Spanish jam before going cosmic again.
So that Not Fade Away was a highlight too.
Huge highlight. Both Not Fade Away and the going down the road feeling bad that followed were apparently absolute standouts, full of this joyful energy.
Even the encores get a mention. Yeah, even One More Saturday Night in U.S. Blues had like a little something extra. Jerry's solos felt remarkably fresh.
And vocals, often a point of discussion.
Excellent, according to the review. Bobby, Jerry, Donna, all in fine form. Donna was particularly noted as being locked in and really rockin'. Just paints a picture of the whole band completely on point.
Okay, so wrapping this up, based on this GratefulDeadBook.com review, May 19th, 1974, in Portland, it really does sound like a night steeped in that wall of sound magic.
No question.
You got that sense of confidence, the highlights from both sets, the incredible improvisation. It really gives you a feel for what that night must have been like, even without hitting play on the tapes right now.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, what makes a show that memorable? Is it just the sound system, the set list, the specific energy of that particular night?
Yeah, something to chew on. What creates that perfect storm for a truly classic live performance?
Exactly. And hey, if this taste has you curious, remember this is just one show from that week. The link in the bio for this week in Grateful Dead history has listening guides if you want to explore more from May 74.